5 convenient locations all across greater Milwaukee, making it easy to give your ride the care it deserves. Sign up for a membership at TsunamiExpress.com and get your first wash free. Tsunami Express Car Wash. Wash, chill, repeat.
Gabe Neitzel here. Catch Jen, Gabe, and Chewy mornings 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN, WKTI, and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station. It's time for the best 60 minutes of your life. This is the Homer Hour, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. Alongside ESPN's John Anderson, here's Emmy Award winner Homer.
Minutes of your day. What is John Anderson going to talk about tonight? The professor. Well, I did hear him talk about how bad it is now where the regular season is meaningless. He's told us that before. And yes, nobody knows how the new college system works until after this season as to whether it makes the regular season or how more insignificant it makes. I will let the professor continue that topic, or maybe he has one that's more important. John Anderson, ESPN.
Yep.
Missouri professor.
Soon to be.
He has been hired, but he has not taught yet. And I will believe that the first class he teaches, he will have significantly less worry or fear or whatever than he did his first day at ESPN. But I'm guessing on that. Is that accurate? Yeah, anxiety would be the word.
I think for sure. I think there'll be no doubt. I didn't have huge anxiety, but I do remember going through the door. My wife had dropped me off, and I said, "You know what? Today of all days, I'd like to be an accountant." And she's like, "Why is that?" I'm like, "Because if you do the accounting, you're just straight line depreciating or doing so. All the numbers have to add up, and it's good." And I said, "What if the people that come in here decide they don't like what you do or how you do sports? Like that happens all the time. I got hired by a person in Phoenix that really liked me enough to hire me. And then the new guy came in as a news director and he got rid of the whole department. So it's, way more subjective. So anyway, but, and then that's, 31. I'm 59 now and I'm not as easily scared by those things.
Yeah. I'm glad you gave us a little insight into that. You don't like it, and you said this best. Too many teams in, and the best regular season team will not win, or will win far, 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 far less than the old days of baseball when you had an American League champ and a National League champ, and those were the two best teams. Now, what's happened is they're now in the entertainment business, and people love playoff games. And people don't give a damn about the regular season. All the regular season does is set up the playoffs. Right? So you have people to blame. You have humanity to blame. Would you like to speak to humanity and tell them that they're all wrong because you make a pretty good case, but it creates so many more meaningful games. Do you realize how many teams are going to be playing games at the end of the regular season that could determine whether or not they get into the playoff? The 12-team playoff?
Same amount as last time.
No, because you're going to have 20 teams that believe they should be 11 or 12. You don't have the same number that believe that they should be 4. Because there are more losses, like you said. You explained it.
So I have more mediocre teams bitching about not getting into a 12-team
well, they're
playoff.
not mediocre, but they're not as great. No, they're not mediocre. Come on.
They're not. If they were down to right now, there are 2 really good teams.
All right, who are the really good teams?
I might see my way to Texas, but I'm not convinced with them either.
You still believe in Georgia?
Oregon. Oregon and Ohio State are the two best teams.
Oh, no.
They've played once. They're going to play again in the Big 12 championship game, Big 10 championship game. Somebody's going to win or lose. And that means somebody's going to host a playoff game, and they may end up meeting a third time. Texas is pretty good.
Yes.
But they've shown that they're beatable, and I don't know that they get to the end of the season there. And so I think you're right. We get down to the end of the season, there'll be some teams that are going to play meaningful games. But before, those were all the conference championship games. Conference championship games, I have no excitement about the conference championship game now. I guess maybe in the Big 12 because you're going to have only
some cases you really don't want to be in it.
There's some places you don't want to, Alabama's going to be like, you know what? I think we'll just sit this one out. We'll be fine.
If I was going to make the playoffs, I don't think I'd want to be in the conference championship game unless I get the chance for the bye or the first game at home. There would be some benefits there. So we'll figure all this out after the first year. Only you are smart enough to have figured it out before the first year.
I don't know. And I get it. I sound like I'm just really the crank in the room all the time when I think expanded playoffs. But I don't like the expanded playoffs in baseball because I think the Brewers are a better team than the Mets, and they showed it over for 6 months, and then they're gone in 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it when it was hard to get into the NFL playoffs, and now everybody can kind of get in, and it's a crapshoot. And so it's like the NCAA tournament.
But I'm not sure it's a crapshoot, though.
64 teams in the college tournament was, I thought, okay, that was magical. It was good. It worked out for Brett. Now we had to go to 68.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense. God bless VCU that's made it all the way to the Final Four.
By the way, you are not aware, because you haven't been around, of the Homer 256. I have been pushing for 256, and the first two games would be at the home of the better team, kind of like the women do it. And then you would really see upsets, the possibility of upsets. And you would also, you must like this, you would have the real best 64 in the 64. The 64 is a joke because they put teams in that don't belong, but they won conference tournaments. So I was curious as to your opinion because the Homer 256 makes for a better 64, which you like, but it does like you'd have, these great teams and you'd have a 16 seed one area, then they have to beat them on their home floor, and that would be a huge upset. But anyway, so having first now heard of the Homer 256, do I get a thumbs up or thumbs down?
It's like listening to the modified Totten scoring system. He was one of our own producers, and he wanted to get rid of all the field goals. So he's like, a field goal couldn't count unless you had a touchdown. You couldn't just kick 4 field goals. You had to have a touchdown somewhere in there before your field goals could count.
I just want to mention, I like that, especially as field goal kicking has gotten too good. It's too important now in football, and then it's nobody's fault, but they just made soccer players put them on a football field. Yeah.
But so the 256, but I guess I feel like, don't we have the 256 with all the conference tournaments?
Not really.
Everybody's playing to get in. Everybody's playing to get in.
Yeah,
just
I guess.
Doing it one, everybody's trying to get in. And so you have, the sparsely attended A-Sun tournament. We'll get rid of that. And then we'll have the sparsely attended first round game where App State goes to UConn.
Yeah.
And hammered.
No, there'll be 2 games. There'll be 4 teams at each place.
Oh, great. There'll be 2. Okay.
Yeah.
So, by the way, UConn women, right? They're the dominant program, and I know South Carolina's done really well. But over the last 15 years, there's been no team better than UConn. And it was probably 8 or 10 years ago. UConn is hosting the region because they always do the first rounds, and UWGB gets put there, the Green Bay Fighting Phoenix. So I go see the game, and they play in the first game. And so I go, and my wife and I and the kids, we watch UWGB, and then after their game, we get up and leave. And you should have seen the people and the looks I got that I was leaving before the UConn women played. You'd have thought like I was just some alien that I had come to the stadium.
Having recognized UConn fans in the last couple of years, I want to let everyone know they rank as some of the most obnoxious fans I have ever dealt with in my life. Now, I don't ever remember them being that way when Calhoun won, so I don't know what has happened. Maybe they're just so happy to be the dominant team in college basketball. You'd know UConn. You'd know Connecticut people. They're just they're off the charts obnoxious. Is that surprise you for me to say that?
I guess,
right.
I only went to Gampole a couple of times when I was here. So every once in a while, and then you'd see them play at the mall, which is when they had to play in Hartford. Have you had to broadcast the game in Hartford as well? Hartford's awful, right? When they have to play Hartford, it's just awful. There's just no atmosphere whatsoever for them to go and do that. So I haven't been around enough of them in that way to see that they've been that way, but I can certainly buy it. They certainly and that's all they have going. God bless them, right? The football team, more is trying, but they haven't been great. They're a little like KU. They just live for these seasons and these months. So good on them. But yeah, I'm not surprised if they are. They can be hard on people. They've got a little East Coast edge to them.
Yeah. Well, when Marquette was in the Big East, they had everyone, and the Syracuse fans were also very strong. And the UConn fans have, to me, just changed. By the way, since we will have Jason Wilde on a little bit, I wanted to address the Packers-Bears game, which is nothing about the Packers, just how bad the Bears are. Losing to the Bears would be so epically bad, I said, it would kind of be like losing a boat race to the Titanic right near the end of the Titanic's time above water. Like, you don't have to be a good boat, but you can't lose to the Titanic as it's on its way down in a boat race. What do you think of that analogy?
Just don't sink, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Just, long as it's seaworthy and you got an oar, you should be able to get by the Bears.
Right. It isn't a question of how good you have to be, but how can you lose to the Titanic? It's going down. That's where the Bears are right now. But
they've changed, though, right? Like a month ago, everybody was like, everybody in that division is good.
Yes.
A month ago. And if Bears pull out that game against Redskins, they still go, okay, they're all pretty good in there. And I just said this to the fellas before.
I heard him. Yep.
Right? It is. Coaches say that all the time. Okay, don't let this game make us lose. Let's only lose this game once. Don't carry it into the next one and lose the next one because we're all moping about this. And they've lost 3 now. And it's all because they can't get over this. And that part it is, as much as I like Matt.
It's on the head coach.
That is a coaching thing right there. That is all on your coaching and on your leadership if you can't get them back on track to play again. And if they keep going down. And now, firing coordinators is the first sign that you're the last guy that's going to go, right? You're going to stay. The beauty is here anymore, you don't sink with the boat like the Titanic. They give you like $40 million and you go away and live in Naples.
Yes, you're set forever. No, I would say this. The Chicago Bears need Mike Ditka as their coach because they have a good defense. They just need to run the damn ball because their quarterback, Caleb Williams, really appears to have some limitations, but he can run a little bit. And you just have to simplify it, and they're just making it way too complicated. And he is, like James Jones says, there are people that are saying he's horrible. Not like he's a first-year player, but they're going out of their way to, like, he's the worst of the first-round picks. And maybe he is. I don't know what he does. That is so bad that people go out of their way. And there's no reason to hate him. I mean, he seems a little goofy or was in college. And is there something about Caleb Williams that makes you want to not like him?
Yeah, I mean, I get he's a bit of a free spirit. Good for him. I got no problem with that. Expression, be who you are.
Right, that is a characteristic often found with quarterbacks.
Right, and if you win, then it's like, how about that guy? We should all be. What is it? What's the old Bull Durham when he said you got fungus on your shower sandals, and he tells the guy, "Listen, if you're winning, then you're eccentric. If you're losing, you're just a slob." And, right,
well
so he's
put,
not right now. He's losing. He's a weirdo, and if he wins, you're like, "Oh, look at that. He's eclectic, and he's good on him." But I do think he just looks like a guy that's out there that is rudderless, long as we're going to stay on those kind of, the nautical theme here. And this, I don't know who's supposed to be providing that. It should be the head coach, should be your coordinator. And you just threw that one guy out and the other guy doesn't seem, he's admittedly a defensive guy.
But even with a bad coordinator, you'd think you'd see the player kind of figure things out. I thought early on, dude, you're in the NFL. The players are faster. You can't run around like you did in college. And granted, you might do that for a game or two, but by game 3, I don't need a coach to tell me that I don't want to do that.
Yeah, you see that all the time, right? The first thing is they're like, "Oh, I can escape here," and all of a sudden you realize, no, you can't.
Right. How long does it take you to figure that out?
To borrow from my man Van Pelt, when you played in the Pac-10, maybe a third of those guys played in the NFL. You know how many guys in the NFL are NFL players? All of them.
That's a great line. How long has he used that? I'm stealing that.
Yeah, I don't know, but he's always said that. He's like, yeah, you know how many guys in the NFL play in the NFL?
But,
all of them.
You would be a great offensive coordinator to say that to Caleb Williams, right, in your private meeting. Just want to give you a heads up. Just what he said, and they go, what number of the players in the NFL are playing in the NFL? 100%.
All of them.
All of them, yes.
Yeah,
Man.
This is Oregon State where, like, you might find 6, or even if it's really good, like Washington had a really
that
good team.
That is so good.
You might have 8 or 10. In this one, all 53 guys in that roster play in the NFL. So, yeah, but somebody's got to coach them out of that. Like, it's just you coach them out of take the loss.
The degree that you have to coach them is something that people notice.
So here's what I think. Here's what I always, to me, that really determines guys who are really good quarterbacks is, and I said it about Aaron for years, and Russell Wilson at his prime was the same way. A great quarterback always ends the play on his terms. He completes the pass. He throws the pass away. He grounds it. He'll take the sack. If he's going to run around, he knows when to get out. The great quarterbacks, the play always ends on their terms. And you watch a lot of these guys, and the play isn't, they're running around, and next thing you know, they get blindsided, or they heave it up, and they're just kind of throwing and hoping, and the play isn't ending on their terms. They're just kind of hoping the play ends.
How long have you used that on, did you use that on SportsCenter? That's brilliant as well. I'm going to write that down to the top 5 John Andersons. That's one of them.
Yeah. I don't know. I've said that for a long time. I don't know. I'm 50. I'm 59. I'm 60. I watch a lot of football.
Well, no, and you give a pass. Let me ask you with that. Do you give a pass? You must, to young quarterbacks not being able to do that, but you need to see it on some place. How do you, given that phenomenal standard, how have you assessed young quarterbacks? Peyton Manning threw a ton of interceptions his first year, and Trey Aikman. What do you look for that makes you say, one day this guy will be in that group?
Because I think if you watched him, I thought Caleb Williams was a pretty good player in college. His last season wasn't quite his Heisman Trophy year, so he had some. But if you watch Peyton Manning, he was always in control. Even if he threw a bad ball and it got intercepted, you never, that doesn't mean just because you're in control of the play and you end it like you would like to, it doesn't mean you can't throw it to the wrong guy or make a wrong read.
And you felt that about Brett Favre, even though he'd make crazy plays. You could see there was something about it that made you put him in that club, right?
Yeah, but every once in a while, right, he'd have one of those where he just lost his mind and he wasn't. When he played, how many throw against the Rams in that play?
He's 6. 70. No, he threw. Right, but I want to let everybody know that was a game where he could have thrown 10 interceptions. They ain't beating the Rams in 100 tries. So he tried too much, right? Don't you think it's necessary to tell people you have to have been around that year?
Yeah. But if you watch Troy Aikman play in college, right, and by the way, started a ton of games.
Yep.
If you watched Peyton Manning, 4 years, played a ton of games. That makes all these guys. That's what I think has made C.J. Stroud really good. Is that guy didn't, what did he play, 2 years? He didn't start 40 games in college. That's why Brock Purdy came in and did really well. Brock Purdy played a ton of games and played against really good teams at Iowa State. He just played at Iowa State at noon most of the time. But not on big noon kickoff because only Ohio State plays in that game.
All right, we're getting the emails. Homer, we're sick and tired of hearing from you. Can you get Jason Wilde on with the professor?
Let's do that.
Yes, and we'll do that soon and next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on 94.5 ESPN.
We still have some delays out there. A broken down semi on the 76th Street on-ramp to 894 eastbound, kind of wreaking havoc back through the Hale interchange onto the southbound bypass from Greenfield Avenue all the way down through the Hale to about Forest Home. We've also got some backups because of an accident on the northbound side of 43 at Keefe off on the right, and then one on southbound 43 at Locust off on the right as well. Eastbound 94 heavy from the Zoo interchange all the way through the Stadium interchange to 35th. Westbound is backed up from South 16th Street all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, mainly clear to partly cloudy skies, a low of 41 at the lake, 32 inland. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, breezy, rain after 6 p.m., a high of 52. Weather is brought to you by the Corners of Brookfield. Head to the Corners for all of your gifting needs and find something for everyone at any of their 30-plus restaurants and retailers. thecornersofbrookfield.com. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
What happens when you mix a three-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year with a Packers Hall of Famer?
I'm not going to get into the Kringle turnover game, so that's what it needs to be.
Kringle
I think his legs.
Yeah. Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Like the pastry. Are you guys being serious? You guys can't put tunes. I got it. I did not get it.
They don't call themselves Racine Danish turnover.
Sorry. Sometimes I wonder about you too, man.
Catch him from 9 to noon right here on 94.5 ESPN, the Wisconsin On Demand app, and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
This political season, you'll hear a lot of noise. But this November, Walker Media Agency has the expertise and team to improve your marketing, advertising, and IT. Start at WMA2024.com. Paid for by Matt Walker and Walker Media Agency.
And ESPN Radio Extra Point with Evan Cohen, Chris Canty, and Michelle Smallman.
As far as Deion being a coach in the NFL, I think he could do the job. I'm not sure if he can do the job right now. Right? I'm not going to say that he can't do the job because anytime this dude is doubted, he's proved naysayers wrong. So, but I would like to see a little more seasoning from Deion, right? Like you're only talking about him having 5 seasons as a college football coach, and 3 of those seasons happened at the FCS level. I'm not going to dismiss the possibility of Deion Sanders being a coach in the NFL. I just think for that particular job, it might be too soon in terms of being able to have the requisite level of experience to navigate dealing with Jerry Jones and also dealing with NFL guys and getting them to buy into a team-first agenda.
FX presents American Sports Story, Aaron Hernandez.
Football is all I got. Everything's okay when I'm playing ball.
You can't make mistakes, Aaron. People are watching you.
From executive producer Ryan Murphy.
Is there something that you want to tell me?
You don't know what kind of thoughts I have.
Aaron! FX's American Sports Story, Aaron Hernandez. All new Tuesdays on FX. Stream on Hulu.
At the Home Depot, we know you can't control everything, like when your guests arrive too early for Saturday college football. But you can control your grill. With the Traeger Timberline XL, you can watch the game, not the grill. Monitor your football feast from anywhere using the Traeger app. With the Timberline XL, you can bake, smoke, sear, fry, and saute. That's Desmond Howard level versatility.
Huddle up, the food's done.
Defend your game time with Traeger and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Stay up to date on the green and gold all season. The Green and Gold Fix podcast is brought to you by Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Luxury stay, elite play, unwind in sophisticated comfort. Win big, dine, and experience the events in Milwaukee. This is the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN. It's time for Jason Wilde on the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
Love this segment. The Professor and Jason Wilde. John Anderson, take it away.
Take it away. Wilde, did you use the bye week to write about either Dak and the Cowboys or Aaron and the Jets?
I did not. Should I have?
Nope, just making sure. It seems like that's all anybody can talk about, and I'm just making sure there's somewhere in the world where I could be there's a safe zone that I can go to.
I did text both of the principal people involved in those situations with Green Bay connections to check if they were doing okay. And Mike McCarthy replied this morning. I'm guessing Aaron was too busy with McAfee to text me back today, but maybe tomorrow. But it is like I don't think there are, and then we'll get to the actual Packers because
I have a quick question on your. Mike McCarthy's done. He'll never coach again in the NFL after this year, and I'm curious if Aaron Rodgers is going to retire because he could easily be in the same situation unless he wants to give it another shot.
So you don't think that you really don't think that Mike McCarthy?
No, he's done.
If another. Okay, you always say everything so definitively.
Well, and I understand what you're saying because the feeling could be that he can still coach, but that the Cowboys are so screwed up. Your position is reasonable.
Correct. Yeah. And look, they've been 12-5 each of the last 2 years, and I know obviously they won one playoff game 2 years ago, and then got beat.
Yeah, I might lose this bet. I'd also wonder how much he wants to coach.
Yeah, that's fair. And then I think he's 60 now. But you keep working, and you're like 87. And then the Rodgers thing, like I just knowing him, or at least knowing who he used to be, I have a hard time picturing him. He used to say when we were doing the show that he would retire by the time he was 35. He had way too many other things he wanted to do with his life. And then now he's going to be 41, and he's still playing. And I'm not sure that he can walk away under these circumstances. But I'm not going to say another word about either one of them because John's whole point was that we were talking about the Packers, and then I did it anyway, and I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry that I brought it up. Back to you, Jim.
No, he brought it up. I did it. He brought it up. I did it. You furthered it.
Yep.
So you do get some blame.
Guilty.
What I was going to say about that is he didn't have to retire now because he's already been to Egypt. So that's already off the bucket list. So he doesn't have to worry about it when he comes back. Tell me, because I do not know. I've spent way too much time in Connecticut. Does LaFleur have a bye week routine? Does he have something where he goes back and does the self scouting? All right, look at these plays. Does he a deep dive? What does he do during his week? Do you know?
Yeah, so I don't know. He definitely did something different this year because I think he did the traditional what everybody does, right? Oh, it's time for a self-scout, and we really dig deep into our tendencies. And he said something before we adjourned when he spoke to us on Monday of last week, as the bye was starting. And then Goody talked on Wednesday after the trade deadline, and then players had open locker room yesterday during Wilde Tausch, which I didn't particularly appreciate, so I didn't get to go. And then we'll be back to LaFleur and Love talking tomorrow. But I thought this was really interesting. He basically said, with where technology is at and the access they have to film and everything else all the time and how quickly the cut-ups are available, that they really don't need to devote the bye week to self-scouting because they have the wherewithal to do constant self-scouting, which is interesting because I always wondered, if you are trying to figure out how to make your team better, why wait until the bye week? Don't you have other people that could be working on that for you as the season is going along? So you're not looking back after the bye week going, damn, I wish we would have done this 3 weeks ago. So what LaFleur did was not only did they do all their self-scouting as they've gone through the first 9 games, but while he did have some projects for the assistant coaches to do, he gave them the week off and basically said, in the normal world of non-football coaches, basically said, hey, work from home, work remotely. Here's your assignment. Get it done before the end of the week, but get it done on your schedule. So Sydney, our 13-year-old, had the start of her basketball season, and there from a rival school is Jason Rebrovich, the defensive line coach. So the two of them, their teams didn't play each other. His daughter's a year younger than Sid. But the two him and I stood and talked for 10 minutes. He had that freedom to go to his daughter's basketball game, whereas a lot of times these guys miss out on all that kind of stuff. So kudos to Matt LaFleur to realize, hey, we can work smarter, not harder or longer during the bye week, and let these guys recharge their batteries and be ready for this next 8-game death march toward the playoffs.
And did you mention to the coach, dude, if your guys don't play better, this season's going to go, this could be in the tank?
I said, I hope your daughter's better than Rashawn Gary. No, I didn't say that. And she's certainly getting paid less than he is. Look, yesterday I wasn't in the locker room. I had a conversation with Rashawn Gary a couple weeks ago, And I made a joke there, but I do believe he's conscientious. I do believe he cares. Like, I don't think he's Cletus Hunt, who got paid and said, "Been real, I'm not trying anymore, I got mine." And then, didn't pay his taxes, and I think they took most of it back. But, I think Rashawn is authentically someone who cares about it and isn't complacent. But there's no denying that he hasn't been productive enough. I mean, he's got 2.5 sacks and 20 pressures through 9 games. That's not good enough for your star pass rusher. And I did find myself wondering, I'm trying to remember who it was that I was on with that asked, is this Preston Smith trade to Pittsburgh and it coming out that he was unhappy in the scheme and had asked for a trade because he felt like he was miscast? Is this going to now become a crutch for all the other defensive ends who have not been productive, like Rashawn Gary, and say, it's not me, it's the scheme? Which I would hope that's not the case, because my issue with this, and if I'd have been there yesterday, Rashawn Gary, I wouldn't say he was combative with Bill Huber and Rob Domofsky and those guys, but, when somebody asked him, you have a high standard, you haven't been as productive as I'm guessing you would like to be. Why do you think that is? He did the whole, well, why do you think it is? Have you watched the film? And I'm not a big fan of it when people do that, only because, I feel like you get more grace if you own that, hey, yeah, I've been getting chipped and thumped by tight ends and running backs, and yeah, I haven't gotten as many one-on-one matchups, but the ones I have gotten, I haven't won enough. Like, this team needs me to be great, and I've just been okay. I feel like when you say that, I think people give you a heck of a lot of grace. And they may agree and say, yeah, you haven't been good enough. But they respect the fact that you own it. And, he said the numbers are going to come, and maybe they will. Maybe they'll use them more like they used them against Houston, and his production will climb. But to this point, the $96 million man that you signed to an extension 13 months ago, I see these other elite pass rushers getting blocked by a tackle and then bumped by a tight end and then chipped by a running back and still getting pressure on quarterbacks. So I don't think that that's a valid argument that you're facing too much attention, because the other guys get it too. And I'm not giving up on him by any stretch of the imagination, but they need him, and Goody admitted it, they need him and the rest of those guys to be better in the second half of the season than they have been.
Give me on a scale of 1 to 10 the importance of the Bear game when they're have turned into lousy and dysfunctional, and they're running 9. They're the Keystone Cops right now. Like you cannot give this game away in my book.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I when we talk about must wins, they're usually like big showdowns, right? Or they're win or go home playoff games or pseudo playoff games like the Packers lost at the end of the 2022 season. But in a weird way, this is kind of a must-win. Like, you're 0-2 in the division. You're playing a team that is in complete disarray. They're going to get, now, it could be minimal. It could be significant. I don't know enough about Thomas Brown other than knowing that he coached the Badgers running backs for a year. He was calling plays last year for Carolina. Carolina had lots of problems, including an owner who was dumping a drink on a Jaguars fan, if I recall correctly. So it wasn't just the offensive play calling. But it's not like you're handing over the playbook now to a guy who has had a ton of success as a play caller in the NFL. So maybe they get a bounce from this. I mean, maybe at least DJ Moore isn't walking off the field in the middle of a play and sitting down and getting a Gatorade. But, I mean, he's borderline Ezra Johnson eating a hot dog on the sideline. But if you lose this game, I mean, who are you? Like, I have used Homer's line so many times because it's so good and it's so rare for me to want to copy something of his. And that was when he said, if you're the team you think you are, this is a game you win. And there's been a few of those this season, and this is undeniably one, because if you don't win it, then we're wondering, what the hell team are you?
But things like this happen historically in division games, right? I mean, if you're going to have craziness, it often occurs in a division game. The NFL numbers say that.
Well, and let's be honest, too. I mean, sooner or later, the law of averages will catch up even with Matt LaFleur. I mean, Matt LaFleur's 10-0 against these guys. Now, I'm not saying I don't think they're going to lose on Sunday. I'm not saying that at all. But I do find myself wondering if something wacky is going to happen. Did they block a punt in the game last week? I have not gone back and watched the Bears game yet. I was in Milwaukee today. So I wanted to go back and watch the Bears-Patriots game from Sunday. I think they blocked a punt. I may be wrong about that. But those are the kinds of things, that allow inferior teams to win games because of those kind of wacky mistakes or unusual occurrences. You get a pick six, which Jordan's thrown 2 of those this year now. You get one of those, you block a punt. Somebody fumbles a kickoff deep in their own territory, and you gift wrap more points for the Bears. Like, there are ways to lose to clearly inferior teams. And you certainly don't need that to happen this week.
Thanks, Jason.
All right, guys, take care. Be good.
Jason Wilde, all Packers all the time. We have a contest where you can win, and that's coming up next, along with more of the Professor John Anderson. All next.
The Homer Hour is back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
A couple of accidents along 43 are going to be causing some issues. Southbound on 43, we've got one at about Locust, off on the right shoulder behind the barrels. And then we've got one on northbound 43 at Keefe, off on the right shoulder as well. So keep that in mind. Southbound slowing down, basically south of Silver Spring down to Capitol Drive, and then more delays from North Avenue all the way down through the Marquette. The northbound side slowing down from Fond du Lac Avenue up past the accident scene at Locust. We got eastbound 94 hitting the brakes through the Barker Road area to Brookfield Road, then back on the brakes from 92nd Street all the way through the stadium. The westbound side is going to be a bit heavy from 13th Street all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, mainly clear to partly cloudy skies, a low of 41 at the lake, 32 inland. Tomorrow, turning mostly cloudy, breezy, rain after 6 p.m., high of 52. Weather is brought to you by National Liquor Mart at 16th and National in Milwaukee. Packed with the best beer, liquor, seltzer, and spirit deals in town. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily, where your satisfaction is their plan of action. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
They say seeing is believing, and when you see what's inside at American Place Casino, you better believe you're gonna love it. Because when it comes to amazing gaming, we're a real game changer. With the most exciting of table games like blackjack, craps, and roulette, the newest slots, a sportsbook, restaurants, bars, and more. So if you're ready for excitement, we'll see you soon. American Place Casino. Change the game.
Must be 21 years of age or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537.
Keep the elements out of your home with Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
We had howling wind coming through. The rooms were freezing. We were very apprehensive about changing them because we were worried about losing the charm of the home. We went with Pella because we knew that they had an amazing reputation. We knew that they were going to have the windows that would look like they'd been there forever, but with all the functionality that a window should have.
Order from Pella today and get no interest and no payments for 12 months. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Ends 11/30/2024.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
Lowe, Dobbs, Watson, Reed, and now Josh Jacobs. Football season is back, baby. Now's the time to set a game plan for your Green Bay and Wisconsin pigskin parties. This is Marie from Discount Liquor. We are your football party beverage headquarters. Whether you need an ice cold keg, a bottle of your favorite wine, a unique craft brew, or hard-to-find liquor, we have everything you need, all at the lowest prices in town. Come see us today at 51st in Oklahoma and Milwaukee, and on Barstow and Main in downtown Waukesha. Voted best liquor store again.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings.
Wherever you're tailgating, we'll get you all set up with your favorite beverages. We're open daily 9 to 9 and Sundays 10 to 2. See all of our weekly specials at DiscountLiquorInc.com.
Discount Liquor.
All you men, listen up. It's future Mrs. Brust here. I want to tell you about my wonderful experience at Robert Hack Diamonds. My fiance Ben and the team at Robert Hack picked out my dream engagement ring for me, and then I personally worked with their team to pick out the perfect wedding band. Experience what I did at Robert Hack Diamonds. Stop in at their Brookfield or Greenfield location. While you're there, mention ESPN and spend at least $2,000 right now on any of their in-stock jewelry and get a free pair of 2-carat total weight diamond studs. It's a deal you can't pass up. If it wasn't for Robert Hack Diamonds and their team of jewelry experts, I wouldn't have trusted my fiance Ben to make the right call. View what they have in stores online at roberthackdiamonds.com and get free diamond stud earrings. All you have to do is mention ESPN at their Brookfield or Greenfield locations when purchasing at least $2,000 of in-stock jewelry. I promise you won't be disappointed.
You're listening to the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
This year, during the NBA's in-season tournament, ESPN Milwaukee is putting Bucks tickets on the line all week long. Tune into ESPN Milwaukee and be entering into our Emirates NBA Cup Bracket Challenge. Right now, caller number 7 to the ESPN Milwaukee talk and text line, 1-800-990-3776. The professor's not eligible. Get your picks in at a team in one of the NBA's bracket groupings. For our show, it's Group B. The Bucks gone. They were taken yesterday. You get to pick one of the other 4 teams in the East. Follow that team throughout the in-season tournament, and if your team wins, you win $2 tickets. And if your team doesn't win, you can still secure your seats to see unforgettable moments at bucks.com/tickets. Call the ESPN Milwaukee talk and text line now, 1-800-990-3776. Caller number 7. By the way, I believe, and have stated, and I'll ask you, Damian Lillard, I believe, will be traded before the end of the season. They're already starting this young kid Rollins at point guard, and I don't think Lillard has any interest in being here, and I think I don't know that they'll get much for him, but it's kind of sad. It's just it didn't work last year and doesn't seem to be working this year. And did you have a comment on the in-season NBA tournament, or would you like to pass, given that we're doing a promotion? I love the salt and the sugar of John Anderson. I have no idea which way a professor is going now, and I don't mean to. You can pass if you wish.
Well, listen, the fact that the Lakers decided they were going to hang a banner for being the in-season champs last year.
Yep.
Was, and so, I mean, I was out before the NBA Finals was finished, but all year I always referred to them as, the in-season champs. Like, that was really such an accomplishment. I love the fact that, like, guys are getting this much money, and so we got to motivate them to play more during the season, and we're going to just throw more money at them. Like, if guys are making $30 million, the extra $250 is not going to make them play any harder, right? I don't know that that's the answer to that.
I'm with you on that.
And the fact these guys,
they're copying soccer. Think of that. Does that bother you even more? This is a soccer steal, right?
Yep, it is.
Yeah,
terrible.
Right.
What I don't get is I just don't understand why anybody can't play 82 games anymore. Right? Guys used to fly commercial. Half the time they play 3 nights in a row. And to quote, Roger Murdoch from Airplane, you try dragging Walton and Lanier's ass up and down the court every night. Right? And they did that, and they went. Now they got all this technology and health and nutrition, and they get to stay at the
right. But they've discovered
and all this stuff, and they still can't play 2 nights in a row.
They can,
but off season, and when it's the off season, they go to the Y or they go to some fitness club and they play 9 hours straight.
Excuse me, Professor, would you like me to help you?
What do you got?
All this analytics has proven that if you play fewer games, you'll play better in the playoffs, and so therefore, it is a reinforcement of. I mean, don't you think if you rest a little more that you'll be more ready for the games that really matter? It screws the people. You're in the entertainment business, and that's bad for the people at the games. But wouldn't
I would tell you that is bupkis.
Okay, all right.
Go look at the first round schedule, because there's so many games. They play about every third day, right? It takes 2 weeks to get you the first, and then once you get the other ones, they play every other day.
Yes.
They still play every other day.
That's accurate.
No, my heart is not bleeding for the NBA
I didn't
players
say
and how
that,
hard he works.
that you would do it because you have the factor in of entertainment, right? I mean, you can actually. Tony Smith had a great line, and he explained this. He said, "You should know the Stars never practice. You have practices. They never practice." He said they will shot, so that there had been an adjustment already that no one knew about in terms of dealing with the Stars, and no coach ever complained. I'll have to ask him next time because he was a rookie and. When they played the Bulls for the Lakers and Magic Johnson, all those places. And he just chuckled and said, we had, what's the word they use to rest? They don't say rest. Load management, because there are new words for everything. Like you don't have truth anymore. You have whatever the new word is. Like you just tell the truth. No, just be, I can't think of it now because I don't buy it. But yeah, he said we had load management. They never practice. I should ask him how many practices Magic Johnson ever played. And then he said, sometimes they like to play. They enjoy playing basketball. But I feel after doing that a segment should always be, not that you have it, but I just kind of want to know if you turn on the mic and say, I want to make sure I get this out today. I see you as having that, but I just might have invented it, and it might not be accurate.
No, I do, but I just don't know that that's where the audience is really. Are they compelled to hear me talk about the Bucks being 2-8 and how disappointing that is?
No, I think they're fascinated. They will be fascinated if I sell this as a segment to know. In addition to all the other things, we'll talk Packers, but I wonder what John Anderson is thinking. Now we need a break, so we're going to tease it, and this is a good tease. Yes,
I got three things.
What John Anderson felt he had to tell us tonight. Next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on 94.5 ESPN. Greg Matzek, Gary Ellerson, the day after reaction show you need in your life.
This offense, Matt LaFleur's side of the ball, dragged this whole team through where they are right now.
It's Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Mondays with Greg and Gary.
The defense got hot at the right time. That might be what we're seeing here with the Packers defense as well.
Live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios from 6 to 8 p.m. every Monday on 94.5 ESPN.
Join the roar of 18,000 Bucks fans at Fiserv Forum and be a part of the slam dunks, game-changing plays, and electrifying victories live. Witness the edge-of-your-seat action and unforgettable moments as they happen. You don't want to miss this. Grab your calendar, handpick your favorite matchups, and secure your seats for Dame time in Milwaukee and every incredible moment that comes next at Bucks.com/tickets. That's Bucks.com/tickets.
Guys, let's be honest. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Oak Creek on Howell Road, just south of Putes Road. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week, even Sundays. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Let's get the latest from Lambeau. This is your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Tri-City National Bank offers a full suite of personal and business banking products at 28 convenient locations. Open your account today at the community bank that was voted Milwaukee's best bank. Learn more at tcnb.com.
Packers running back Josh Jacobs currently ranks 4th in the NFL with 762 yards rushing at 4.8 yards per carry. Green Bay has 1,393 yards as a team, which are the most through the first 9 games of a season since 2003. For how good they've been, Jacobs believes the running game can be even better.
We've been pretty good as a unit. It's crazy because it's like we could be so much better. So I think that's the fun part about this back end, trying to chase the perfection and trying to chase being great as a unit.
The Packers visit the rival Chicago Bears on Sunday. Kickoff is at noon.
This has been your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Tri-City National Bank.
Need to find that perfect home? Don't sell. Upgrade with a home equity loan. Renovate that kitchen. Retile that bath. You choose the fixtures. Let us do the math. Tri-City National Bank. Equal housing lender. NMLS 433891.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog, because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do, do it with a Coors Light. Mountain Cold Refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Who's looking for a deal? Well, Cousin Subs has a better deal just for you. Cousin's new $10 meal deals are now available online only. Choose between a 7.5-inch ham and provolone, turkey breast, or veggie sub, a bag of chips or regular fry, a regular fountain beverage, and cookie at cousinsubs.com or on the mobile app for just $10. Now that's a better deal. Cousin Subs, we believe in better. Available at participating locations only. Offer subject to change without notice.
Fisco is always there for your auto body care. When accidents happen, Fisco Auto Body on Forest Home in Franklin is there when you need them. Got a broken mirror? They'll take care of it. Dented bumper? Scratch paint? Fisco Auto Body will take care of it. If there's any damage you need fixed, Fisco has you covered. Their expert workmanship is guaranteed for the life of your vehicle. So stop in for all of your auto bumps and dings. Once again, you know the line. That's Fisco.
Welcome back to the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
Yeah, the professor's going to talk soon. Holtebeck Eye Center. Take care of your eyes, whatever the age, whatever the situation. I was with Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team recently at their Brookfield office. That's what they think. Make vision care a top priority with the latest technologies at their state-of-the-art office, and they want to do even more. He's been helping local patients with their eye care needs for over 20 years, but he wants more, so he's added to his team the addition of Dr. Nowsheen Abbas. Don't mess with your vision. Trust the experts, whatever the age, whatever the situation. Holtebeck Eye Center in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol. Holtebeck.com. And just to keep all those people happy who yell at me, Homer, I'm sick and tired of 38 minutes. Yes, American Place Casino. It is just a half hour south of Franklin. And then someone said, Homer. So I did. It's exactly 38 minutes. So yes, 38 minutes south of Franklin, American Place Casino. Located in Lake County, Illinois. Great table games, great slot machines, sports book, all kind of food. All their promotions at AmericanPlaceCasino.com. But that's not important to me. Yes, Homer, you're not going to do it again. Yep, I'm going to keep doing it. 38 minutes. Just a half hour, a little more south of Franklin, American Place Casino. All right, the Professor John Anderson, ESPN. What did he feel he just had to tell us tonight? New segment. Going to do it every week. Because I think there's always something when you got that much salt and that much sugar.
I don't know. So first off, I can't express how disappointed I am in the Bucks and Doc Rivers. Like, it's just part of when you talked about them superstars not practicing, I bought a little of what Doc said last year. He took over midstream. It's hard to start turning the boat around, even if it's a canoe, not a Titanic. And so I gave him a little pass that they got worse when he came aboard. They fired their head coach and they got worse. He's had the offseason. They've had Lillard around long enough that this should either work or they need to get out of it as soon as he can. The old Ron Wolf thing, right? If you realize you've made a bad play and it's dumb and it's not working, how soon can you get out of it? So maybe they are hamstrung, but they got to get out of this. They got to get rid of Lillard, or I mean, it's probably already too late to save Doc. And I'm with you. With every game he plays, I feel like that's one less on the calendar of we will ever see Giannis in a Bucks uniform again, which is killing because he's still in his prime. So that's terribly on my mind, that they're just awful and I can't stand it. They've been awful again. And meanwhile, Cleveland's like 12-0. Because I'm old, I still like to watch postseason awards. I think it was awesome that Bryce Terang and Sam Frelick are Golden Glove winners. I have watched Terang closer since you decided he was the greatest second baseman you've ever seen in a Brewer uniform.
Yeah, and I asked Jim Gantner.
Yeah.
And he said, no. It's not the same position. You know, the hardest thing you do as a second baseman, he says, is you turn a double play when they're going to just beat the crap out of you. He said, they don't have to do that anymore. I said, so that aside, is he better than you? He didn't say anything.
He's a really good glove man.
He's the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, so I like watching him. And then I don't know if you can help me with this or not, okay? Because you're going to help me out with the goats for my friend Grant Holloway. We still got to get to the bottom of that. Now I need a live badger. Okay, so I'll be in Madison for the cross-country championships in 11 days. The NCAA cross-country championships there at the O. Zimmer course on Saturday the 23rd, first Saturday before Thanksgiving. And obviously, Bucky is out of town because they play in Nebraska, the football team. So Bucky won't be there. So I have told people that are putting on this, we need to have a badger. And I think the zoo in Madison has a badger. I don't know if anybody's listening, if anybody can help me, but I need the badger from the zoo. I need a live badger to be on our pregame show for the cross-country championships. Because I just don't think people, they think it's a cool nickname, but I don't know that anybody's ever seen a badger live and on TV. And so that's on my mind desperately the last few days and will be my chore in the coming week is how do I get a live badger at the NCAA cross-country championships? So if anybody's got one as a pet that wants to bring it, I mean, hopefully it has its shots and it's in a cage or something. Like, I don't think you can put it on a leash and just walk it around the park.
Man, you have so many great questions.
I need a badger.
I think you can get a badger. You're John Anderson.
I don't know. I don't know. I just.
But I get the feeling you'd like a badger that's personally owned by someone, not one from the zoo.
No, I'll take one from the zoo.
Will you take one from the zoo? All right.
Yeah, I don't know that you're allowed. I don't know that you're allowed to have a badger as a pet. I don't know everything. I don't know all the rules and regulations there about licensing a pet in Wisconsin anymore. It's not like getting a Siamese cat. But so I don't know that anybody
another great question.
And can admit it.
I can't help you, but I can do some work on that. I like the fact that I'm not sure anybody has ever really had the same interest you have in having a badger, like you have.
But then you're on a show, right? Because we've got all these crazy shows. We got the gal now with the chimpanzees, and before that we had the crazy guy. What animals did he have?
Well, crocodiles, alligators. What was the guy? But yeah.
If you could be the badger guy or the badger lady, that'd be awesome.
I don't know. I've just been told that badgers are just they're mean. There's
mean as snakes.
Yeah.
Ferocious.
The toughest thing, and you aren't going to have one, but the toughest thing is a golden eagle. You don't mess with a golden eagle. Golden eagle takes down an elephant. Golden eagle takes down a goat on the side of a mountain. I'm not sure there's anything, and there are no predators to a golden eagle. I don't think anybody can take on a golden eagle. They go after your eyes. They go after your eyes. You're a goner. I don't care.
Man, that's it.
All right.
I'm worried about a bear on Sunday. That's all I'm worried about.
All right. We will work. We will get and have more information on you. You'll be. I mean, we can address this next Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, hopefully we'll.
Yeah. I'll have more than you want to know about a badger. The Professor. Oh, man. The salt and sugar is so good. Tune in to Behind the Bucks on the Bucks Plus Audio Network, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR benefits consultant. Behind the Bucks dives deep into the Bucks and Six, a culture unknowingly created by former Buck star Brandon Jennings. Take a look inside the Brandon Jennings story, the origin of Bucks and Six, how it became the rallying cry, and what it truly means to Jennings and Bucks fans alike. Find Behind the Bucks on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get your podcasts. Behind the Bucks, presented by Gallagher. Oh, research on a badger. Next. Not next, but...
Southbound on 41, delays from Silver Spring down all the way to Burleigh. You're back on the brakes from Greenfield Avenue on the bypass, heading all the way down and around the Hale interchange to Forest Home. Eastbound 94, watch